Oh, our internal connections, right? It's such a deep topic. It
Hmm.
can go from, what we think about ourselves to how we view the world to even these deep-seated traumas or, something that really affected us, whether it be negative or positive in our childhood, it tends to stay with us. And as we move on through life, finding those connections or all of a sudden thinking, whoa, but what's going on? I'm feeling different. Something's, I'm hearing different things. If you have ever been faced with any of those emotions or thoughts or even those questions, that is what Sam and myself are going to dive into today. Sam, hello and welcome. I'm really excited about this conversation today.
Yeah, I'm super excited to be here. Listening to you talk just there reminded me of something. It's a famous quote from Bruce Lee, and I don't have it written down, but it's something about be careful how you talk to yourself because your body is listening.
Yeah.
So, it just came to mind so much when you were speaking. We have to be aware of our mindsets
Yeah.
because they do hold power.
Oh,
We do
so true.
have power over our domain.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah.
It's so true because when we constantly hear those negative whispers, I mean, it is a part of us. That's just what happens. But when
Hmm.
we hear them all the time, and I always say that when we ignore them, they become stronger. When you allow yourself to hear it and say, yeah, I hear you, but you know what? I know I am worthy because of this, or I deserve my love because of this. So,
And I think sometimes when we ignore something, it's because we're afraid. So any decision made out of fear is a bad decision, quite
mhm,
frankly.
mhm.
And it's learning to identify, is that voice our ego, who doesn't care about us? Ego just wants to be alive. It needs the body working. It does not care about our happiness.
Yeah.
Or is it soul speaking to you? Listen to soul and
Yeah.
kick ego out. So
Yeah. Oh my
yeah.
gosh, that's so true, right? Never allowing ourselves to
Yes.
listen, never taking that moment just to, okay, I'm just going to sit here or walk here and I'm just going to listen to what I'm feeling, listen to the sounds around me
Yeah.
and get in tune, reconnect with who
It's
I
giving
am in that
ourselves,
journal.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
giving ourselves permission to do that,
Yeah.
especially as women. And I'm not ruling out men here at all, but just, if we just think of women for a moment, we do not give ourselves permission sometimes to not be running at full tilt and to not be handling everything and to not be solving everyone else's problem. Well, everyone else's problem actually isn't our problem.
Yeah. So,
But
so
you and
true.
I both know because we help people, it's tough. It's
Yeah.
very tough.
It's
Yeah.
very, very tough. Yeah.
Yeah.
So before we continue even further, Sam, can you please let us know who you are and where in the world
All
you are
right. Well,
coming from
yes.
today?
I know. See, look at us. We're already diving into topics because we love that, right? I know.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
love it.
yeah.
Okay. So, well, thank you for that. My name is Sam Plovey. I am QiProSam. So I'm trained in the five Chinese arts, and they're basically to do with your environment, which is feng shui, your destiny, which is Chinese astrology known as Bazi, Mian Sang, which is face reading, which is our body language and our face and how we present to the world, and Qimendinjia, which is strategy. So that's very important for corporate orations I work with. And then martial arts. So I'm a Sifu in Tai Chi as well. So I have quite a toolbox. But my biggest thing that I like to do is have become a life alignment guide. And it's not really a coach because there's lots of wonderful coaches like yourself out there. But I help people align to their true path, and it removes the barriers that sabotage their success. So I bring people to a new level of awareness of understanding their bhatsa, their destiny, their birth date, what their path is, and how to use its strengths rather than playing to its weaknesses, and how to use your environment. So your home, your office, your store, your building, whatever. If you understand those two things, then you make better decisions and better actions at the right time, and everything falls into place.
Yeah.
So it's alignment. So I align what we call the heaven, man, and earth. And someone said to me the other day, you can't say man, you have to say people. And I'm like, oh, God. It's a Chinese term,
Yeah,
heaven, man,
exactly.
and earth. So I could say spiritual, people, and land, if you like, but it's heaven, man, earth. So
Yeah.
it's called the cosmic trinity. Align those three, you're good.
Yeah. It's so true. I had many years ago taken a feng shui course, and it was really, really interesting, right? And
Mm,
I'm kind of, very similar, that the fact that I can, you can feel the energies, and I really find that happens when you allow the connection, when you open your mind
yes,
and not be so close, right? Allow your mind to expand. And when you
totally.
do that, these connections that you feel, the energies that you feel, and your tuition is allowed then to blossom.
Totally. So, feng shui is understanding how the environment affects you. So I'm
Hmm.
trained in Chinese feng shui, so Eastern feng shui. But when I cannot be with my clients, if we're doing property searches and we're doing things and I can't be there with them for some reason, I will just basically say to them, when you approach the house that you're
Yeah,
thinking of buying, I will be previewing it. I'll be doing my thing behind the scenes,
yeah,
but just stand still, send the realtor in, separate from the realtor,
yeah.
and just walk in quietly. And everything I do has a very scientific base, but the house will talk to you. And I don't mean a
Yes.
voice, I don't mean that.
Yeah,
It will connect with you. Like, so
yeah,
you just know it, right? You walk
yeah,
into your friend's home and you're like, I just love being here. I sit
yeah.
on her couch and I just open my soul and I'm so happy. And yet she's got an old couch from IKEA that's 20 years old. The wall color is kind of, but you love it.
Yeah,
Whereas you can go into a brand new apartment that's amazing and you're just kind of like, oh, can't wait to get out of here.
yeah,
It's because the energy is the connection,
yeah.
not the physical thing. So
Hmm.
pay attention to that physical connection. It's so important.
Yeah, I'm going to dive a little deeper into that, because
Mhm.
it's going to be 70 years that we live in our house. And at the time when we were looking, we'd go into these houses like, no, my husband would say, what do you think? I said, it doesn't feel right. What do you
Yeah.
think? It doesn't feel right. What do you think? It doesn't feel right. Something's not right. And then we walked into this house. We walked in the door and it's like, oh, right. This feels right. And then he felt it too. And then it's interesting because once we moved in, spirits, there were lots in this home and
Oh,
lots around. So, but that connection was them because they felt comfortable coming to me. I felt comfortable listening. And, and it was like someone's listening to me, not me. They were telling me someone's finally listening to us. So
yeah.
I want to know your thoughts on that, and I'm like going way out there now. And some people listening
Okay.
might be saying, what's happening, Tanya? But it's almost like I think the house felt right for many reasons, but also the spirits finally, like, someone's able to listen. It's like, now we can talk and now we can be at peace.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like you
Yeah.
have an empath ability. So
Mm,
that's what they were connecting to. So I don't have that ability. I'm
mm,
extremely intuitive and I can work out the scientific base and
yeah.
trust my intuition and feel those things out. But the empath base would be really important. And people
Hmm.
say to me, well, how do you choose a house? Well, I have a formula on how I do it for the people. I align their birth chart with the chart of the house to see what will happen there. However, I'll also say you don't choose the house
Mm.
chooses you.
Chooses you. Yeah.
Always. My
Hmm.
last the apartment I'm in now, it found me. Like it came to me. I didn't go finding it.
Hmm.
But what I will say is I have to intercede sometimes
Ah,
because when someone has had a bad experience, they've been in an abusive
yeah.
relationship or just a
Yeah.
very unhappy situation, but they've been in that place, that house for a while, the body becomes comfortable with that. It
Yeah.
accepts, especially if it can't change it, the person is unable to change it. So you become comfortable. The problem is when you go looking for your next home, you will pick the same thing that feels comfortable.
Hmm.
So I will intercede when I have a client that is leaving a bad relationship or keeps picking the same bad boyfriends or keeps picking the same bad jobs because they will choose a home that will continue that theme. So I actually have to step in and sever that tie and choose a house for them.
Yeah.
So that's the
Yeah.
only time. Otherwise, I say fully listen,
Yeah.
fully listen. If you're in a
Yeah.
good place,
Yeah.
fully listen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was always like, okay, our old house, like, okay, I'm gonna, do it, the special bowl and all that, and talk to the house, say it's we're releasing you. You've been, we were actually talking to the house. I was talking to the house. But yeah, it's so
Yeah. And
beautiful,
there
right?
are there are four doors in the feng shui
Hmm.
realm that if they open, the spirits come through. And
Hmm.
generally they don't want to be here. They're in their own realm. So
Yeah.
we just have to remind them to keep going. You
Yeah.
don't come through this door. It's not meant for you.
Exactly.
Occasionally we have to do something very specific to shut that door.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
it's harmful. So there's out of 360 degrees, there are four locations of these doors,
Yeah.
spiritual.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I always say they listen. When you say I'm not listening and my doors are shut, it's like, okay.
Yeah, yeah, just tell them to go. If anyone's listening and they're like, "Oh my God," just tell them to say, "Move on. This is
Yeah,
not for you. I am
yeah,
not for you."
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. And Sam, I find that when we are internally connected, right,
Mhm.
with our well-being, self-care becomes a
Mm.
really prioritize, I can't talk today, fulfillment. And
Yeah.
making it a part of our life is so important. And what allows you, Sam, to prioritize yourself and say, yeah, my self-care is important? And what's something you do in your daily routines to make that a part of your life and not kind of toss it aside?
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. That is the biggest question. I've been interviewed a lot the last little while, and that's the one question that everyone keeps asking. And I
Yeah.
think the reason being, some people that know me very well, I went through a big life change, and I had to actually put myself first for a while. And well, no, put myself first from here on in. Because when we put other people first, we actually put ourselves second. We don't
Mhm.
realize we've done it. We think we're being very gracious when we put someone else's needs ahead of ours, but it puts us behind the 8 ball. So we need to stop doing that. And women are traditionally very good because we're carers and we're nurturers. So I realized to have the strength to do what I needed to do in the last year, I had to be take care of myself. Now it was tricky because I was labeled as selfish, and I
Mhm.
thought, wow, that's so interesting. And I realized, and then I thought, you know what? Sure, I'm actually selfish, but that's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
It's not. We need to take away the negativity that comes with that
Mhm.
word.
Mhm.
Being spoilt is different, but being selfish is knowing the importance of valuing yourself
Yeah.
first. So I am only useful to my clients and my friends and my family if I put myself first. But it was a very interesting year to do that. It took me quite a while. I have to, it's not easy. So I advise everyone to do that.
Yeah.
And what changed is I'm a very disciplined person, but now I'm not.
Mm.
I wake up in the morning and I follow what the day brings. Yes, we have schedules. We had our podcast today. I've got something tomorrow. If you've got to be at an airport, you have to get up early and get to the airport. I get that. But when you don't, I actually follow the day. I don't have an alarm clock. I wake up in time. And if I want to walk first, I do that. If I want to, get onto my social media first, I do that. I follow what the feel is, which is
Mhm.
what soul is telling me, not ego.
Mhm.
Ego will say, oh, we need to do this, that, and the other, and immediately get me going. So I actually have a very slow approach to my day. And I do have structure of some fitness classes and some things, but I keep it very light. And I think it's a new way forward. We've been told, well, if you if you don't work out first thing, you'll never work out. Really? No, I could go work out at 10 a.m. I could go work out this evening. I can do it differently. So we're breaking down these walls of what was, and I ask everyone to break down their walls. We
Mhm.
have put structure around us, but they've become barriers. We need boundaries, not barriers.
Yeah.
So that's a
Yeah.
big part. So it's very new for me, and I'm loving it and doing very well.
Yeah.
So highly recommend it.
Yeah, we as women excel at giving everybody what they need, but we fail to do ourselves, or we feel
Mhm.
guilty because we're,
Yes.
doing something for ourselves, not realizing it that when you actually give yourself permission to choose
Mhm.
to do something for yourself, you become more self-fulfilled. There's so many times people, they're always looking for something else to make them happy, but they're
Yes.
not realizing it's staring at you right in the mirror. It's yourself, right? Give
And I
yourself what
think,
you need.
yeah, and I think we also we just put other people's expectations first. If someone
Hmm.
says, we put what they need first, we answer it for them. So you have to be a little bit selfish and just pull back, because if it's the whole analogy of the oxygen mask
Yeah,
on the plane, right?
yeah,
When it falls from the ceiling, doesn't matter if you've got a child next to you or a partner, you must put your oxygen mask on
yeah,
first, or you are no help to that person.
yeah,
And we know this, but we still run full tilt the other way.
yeah.
And the whole energy shift metaphysically is massively changing, and female energy is rising. So a lot of women are feeling very confused right now. I don't know if you've
Mhm.
noticed this, Tanya, with your clients, but they're feeling very confused and they don't understand what they're feeling. And I'm pushing them
Yeah.
to stand in their own shoes,
Mhm.
which is
Yeah.
uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It goes back to, even if we look back generations, women would put their families first or their friends first.
Mhm.
And now that they're hearing more messages out there to make yourself a priority. But I find that women still continue to struggle because
Mhm.
they're thinking, well, like you mentioned, what's going on? And oh, but I shouldn't, feel like this. Like, why do I want to do this for myself when, so and so needs me?
Yeah.
But when you start to do it, it might be a struggle and feel really uncomfortable. The
Mhm.
more you do it, the easier it becomes. And your family and friends start to respect you for that, right? I mean, I've been taking care of myself for years, self-care, right? And if I'm like this, I'll tell my family, is like, I need 5 minutes right now just
Yeah.
to get my own thoughts. And they're so used to that that it's okay, right?
Yeah.
So, I encourage every woman out there, and I say every woman, you have the right
Yeah.
to allow yourself to say, okay, wait, I need to go for a walk, or I need these 5 minutes, or I need just to catch my breath,
Mm.
instead of thinking like everyone's demanding my time. How about you demand yourself of your own time?
Totally. And then something you said too about I want to encourage people to get comfortable being uncomfortable. It was a
Mhm.
mantra I started last year in my blogs and podcasts. And I kept saying, because I knew what was coming this year. So I kept saying, I need you to get comfortable being uncomfortable. Stop turning away from uncomfortable. Because I strongly believe that we grow through moments of pain. We do
Yeah,
not grow through moments of comfort
yeah,
because we're comfortable.
yeah,
So I encourage people to look it in the eye. So I had a wonderful therapist that helped me through my life transition recently. And she sort of said, you look it in the eye. When it comes up, don't run away. Don't push it down, like literally, have a moment, bawl, cry. I mean, I remember having a moment one day and I was bawling and crying and I was yelling at the room and snot. I mean, it wasn't the pretty Hollywood cry you see on the movies. Oh God, no. No, this was the full-on tears, snot, red face, the whole thing. And I was just getting all the horrible things that I was thinking out of me. And it was the
yeah.
most liberating moment. And
Hmm.
I said it to my therapist that it was like, it was verbal diarrhea. I got everything out and then I was healthy again. So I
Yeah.
encourage everyone to do that. But we've been taught, especially English, should be seen and not heard. And you
Mhm.
suck it up and put on a brave face. And I totally don't agree with that. Thankfully, that's changed a lot now. But it was the way I was brought up, and I
Yeah.
just don't think it holds any purpose. When you hold things down, that's when you get ill because
Yeah.
you block the chi meridians in your body when you suppress things below your diaphragm, which is what you do when you don't look things in the eye, and we just become ill.
Yeah.
So, and I believe in taking accountability. We need to take this little finger that we often like to point. It needs to
Yeah.
come back.
Yeah.
What is your role in a
Yeah.
situation? What is your role in this? And
Yeah.
reevaluate that.
Yeah. Exactly. Stop blaming other people, right?
Mhm,
Look
mhm.
internally within yourself. So,
Yeah.
and those of you that are watching today, if as you're watching, anything resonates with you, really make a point and ask yourself, okay, why did that word, or why did that
Mhm.
thought, why did that message really come to me? There's a reason for
Yeah.
that. And if as you're watching it, you're kind of feeling this energy about you, that's because right now Sam and I have this crazy connection. You might be hearing us clear our throats. That's because we have
Mm.
this energy connection is happening
Yeah.
right now. So I
Yeah.
just, I wanted to point that out.
Pretty intense, actually. Yeah.
Pretty intense, yeah. And what motivates you, Sam, to get up every morning?
um, well, I've thought about that because you mentioned something about this before. Sleep is my cheeky answer. I do need sleep. I do need sleep. But cheekiness aside, I think what motivates me, actually, I know what motivates me. It's the fact that I can start again. It's a new day. It's a new dawn. You want to do the whole song thing, but it's a new day, a new dawn, and it's a new chapter. So maybe the day before wasn't great. Maybe I didn't achieve something I wanted to achieve. Maybe I didn't go to the gym and I ate a whole bag of Oreos. I don't care. It's what I needed at that moment. So I did it. But the new day is a new chance. It's fresh. So I get slowing down my world. I chose a home, and I'm just looking out the window right now as I talk to you. My office looks over a beautiful park here in Victoria. And I just take a moment every day to look at the beauty that's around the world. The world gives us everything we need, which is not always what we want.
Mhm.
So motivation comes from the freedom that I now have, and also comes from my clients. it comes from their needs as well. So it's a very interesting mix. It's changed so much in the last year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when you look out that window, it's so freeing, isn't it? Nature
Mm-hmm.
is so powerful. And often I'll find, like you just said, I looked out my window, and I'll do that sometimes too. I'll
Yeah.
just kind of stop and, okay, I'm just gonna look out the window. I'm gonna step outside a few minutes just to, okay,
Yeah.
just ignore everything and just
Yeah.
focus on the moment.
I'm a big believer in synchronicity, and things happening for you, not to you. And I remember when I was very early, I just moved here in Victoria, and I was walking down a street. I would just wander aimlessly, just turn left, turn right, and I was just thinking, did you make the right move? Maybe could you have stayed in the Okanagan where you were, and the whole thing. And I came around the corner, and there's a big moving truck, just
Mm.
big white moving truck loading furniture into this apartment, and it said Sam's Moving Victoria, and I was like, okay, all right, thanks. There we go. And it happens all the time if
Yeah.
you're open to it. Like you said, we have to be open.
Yeah.
And it sounds easy to do, but it's not, because we're
Yeah.
trained to do, well, financially, I should do this, or I should do that. And I had to throw it all out the window. And I give my therapist full credit for this, because I knew my Bart's chart. I knew what was happening in my world, but I didn't fully let go of everyone else's expectations. And when she said, you have to put yourself first, I was like, wow, okay, I'll do that. And
Yeah.
everything changed. And those signs happen all the time.
Yeah.
If I'll be sitting in my office thinking, I was just writing a report for a client yesterday, and I looked out, and my plant pots are out there, and a hummingbird came, and it just sat and looked right at the window, and I'm like,
Yeah.
okay. And I
Yeah.
kept going.
Yeah.
So it
Exactly.
happens all the time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just like, you walk and you find a quarter or a dime, or it's like,
Yeah.
why is this dime sitting here now? Or you look at the time, it's like, okay, the numbers. It's like, okay.
Oh yeah. And I'm sure you do. We both encourage people to do that, to pay attention. If you see the 444 on your phone, or the 111, just take a moment. What were you just thinking about?
Mhm.
Because it's good. And
Yeah.
the universe is trying to say, I'm just giving you a nudge,
Yeah.
because we are just on this journey. We're not in control of things at all. The
Yeah.
universe is a much bigger place than we are. We're just mere mortals walking the path.
Yeah.
And it does have our best interests at heart.
Yeah.
We muck it up.
Yeah.
We allow ego to change our
Mm.
direction, someone else to change our direction, logic to change our direction. And I'm a very logical person, but you need to mix that logic with intuition as well. The two
Yeah.
have to work together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, so true, right? So, so true.
Mhm.
So, Sam, I'm just thinking, wow, we have gone deep into so many
Yes.
parts of this conversation that
Mhm.
I could talk about this just like yourself for hours and hours and
I
hours.
warned you when you said to me, I'm like, oh, be ready. We'll go forever.
Because even from one message something else blossoms, and then from another
Mhm.
message something else blossoms, and it's like this beautiful tree, right? You have your roots
Mhm.
that are really, really deep, and I'll say that internal connections, and then from there it grows, and you have these branches and blossoms and flowers, and each of them are at the end all connected again to our deep roots, right? So
Mhm.
everything we're feeling, things we're seeing, the sights, the people, the I don't know, the nature, everything around us. It happens for a reason. And when we start to see that, when we allow that to happen, and when we make ourselves a priority,
Mhm.
that's when I feel things all of a sudden start to become aligned. And if you hit this bump in the road, that's okay. That is life, right?
Yeah.
But realize your own worth.
Yes, and you do that bump in the road. I love it when you say these things. I'm like you. We're going off on tangents, and I love it. I recently learned that we look at our path, with our destiny path, or our path we're walking, and we think. I always encourage people to walk the bumpy path, because they say to me, "Oh, when you look at someone's Bart's chart, if you see it all well balanced, is that great?" I'm like, "No, it's boring. It's actually boring." People that have challenging birth charts, Bart's charts, where things are up and down, that's dynamic,
Mhm.
that's active. And we need to stop looking at obstacles blocking our path. The obstacles are our path.
Mhm.
So my mantra, when I did my New Year blog this year, I said to people, your breakthroughs will come through your obstacles.
Yeah.
Your greatest, breakthroughs will happen because of the pain you're going to experience,
Mhm.
and that's okay.
Yeah.
So I think we need to change our mindset of we want things easy. because things are not easy. That's one thing we've learned this year in 2022, is that things are not easy, as the year has completely changed direction
Yeah.
constantly.
Yeah.
So look at those obstacles as moments, stepping stones of growth, and don't turn away from them.
Yeah.
When you come to a Y in the road and there's a more challenging path, you have to evaluate if it's the right one, but it probably is, because those challenges are going to push you into new areas.
Yeah.
So I've learned that a lot. I've always believed that anyway, but I'm pushing people to do that a bit more
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
You know.
I always believe too that, there's happen for a reason, right? Things don't
Mhm.
just happen because happen for a reason. And then, oftentimes people don't realize it happened for a reason, but then when you point it out, they're like, oh, I broke my leg. And I said, okay, well, think about your life. How has it been lately?
Yeah,
You've been busy, you've been
exactly.
running around, you're stressed, like all these things, like this happened as
Yeah,
a sign, like you need, like, it's time to slow down. They're like, I didn't even think about
exactly.
it that way.
I, I, I totally agree. I couldn't agree more, because like we both said before, that things happen for you, not
Yeah.
to you. And and making that switch is actually really difficult,
Yeah.
because we do, as a human race, we do tend to play the victim card, and something happens to us and we're like, I hear it all the time. Well, if I didn't have that boss at work, I'd have the promotion. I'm like, well, the thing is, you do have that boss at work. So you're going to have to work with it.
Yeah.
Or, oh, someone did that and then everything just went wrong and it's all their fault. I'm like, is it now? So I'm pretty tough on my clients, actually. Once they get to know me, I'm like, be ready, I'm coming in. And, but then they realize that I'll push them, and that's where they grow.
Yeah.
So it does happen for you. The
Yeah.
universe does have a plan, and it actually has our back.
Yeah.
We muck up the plan. We
Yeah.
do,
I
as humans.
always, yeah. I always, at the end, I always say, things could always be worse. Like you're alive, you're living another day. That is the greatest gift, right?
I just did that self-talk to myself about a week ago.
Oh,
Because I had to make a whole bunch of decisions by myself. So it's a whole new area. Usually I had someone to bounce these things off. And I had to make a whole bunch of financial decisions that involved quite a bit of money, and it was scary. And I suddenly
yeah.
thought, just look it in the eye. It's okay. The fear you feel is good. That's actually not a bad feeling.
Yeah.
Get the facts. Financial advisor gave me the facts, and I'm like, great, we're going to do this, 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 and this. And then I
Yeah.
just let go.
Yeah.
And that is perfect. So
Yeah.
awesome.
So
Yeah. And it was
amazing.
so important, because I was panicking. I was panicking.
Oh yeah, that fear, right? It is like, oh my gosh. And I feel like it's out of your control. And if you've never met, but the what if I do this, and what if this, yeah. It can be such a major roadblock, and it can remain a roadblock if we tend to not allow ourselves to look at what's around it and
Yes.
realize we can step over and move on. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Mm.
Samantha, you've had amazing advice that you've shared today.
Yeah.
And you've shared a quote. I was going to ask, if there's a favorite quote that you have, but if there is
Mhm.
another one, because I know you mentioned the one with oh my gosh, I'm blank, Bruce Lee, right?
Yeah.
But is there another quote
There,
that
there
you
is.
really
I've got
resonate? Yeah.
two favorite quotes, but the one that I resonate the most with, and I encourage other people, is Oscar Wilde. And it's when he said, be yourself. Everybody else is already taken. I want to encourage women to step into who they are. No apologies. We need to stop this. We need to stop these apologies. They are not working. And it's something I do in these monthly forecasts I give out for people on my website, because I encourage people to own it. And when we try to be someone else's role, it will fail. If we listen to social media about how we're supposed to look, how we're
Yeah.
supposed to act, what we're supposed to say, be your authentic self.
Yeah.
I know it's that word is a little bit overused in the last 5 years, so
It
I
is.
apologize, but it's important. So be yourself.
Yeah.
There's
So
no one
true.
else
Yeah.
like you.
Yeah.
No one else.
It's like you mentioned fashion. Sometimes women think, oh, they need to wear this, but you know what? I just say, look in your closet, look at your door, put on what feels good, what feels
Yeah,
comfortable. If you feel you need to be a little like fashion, then add just something to it, if
yeah,
that makes you feel better. But put on what I always say, I'll grab on what's talking to me, and I'll put it on, start with my pants, like okay, what's speaking to me? What do I feel like I need today, right? And of course, I always have my
Yeah.
my, my bracelets on, right?
Totally.
Yeah,
And then I remember, a lot of women entrepreneurs, we have to get on videos, we have to get on social
yeah,
media. And I had to overcome that fear, like everyone, being on video. It's like, oh my
yeah,
goodness, I don't look like Christy Brinkley. Well, I'm not Christy Brinkley. And I remember my business coach saying to me, what on earth are you hung up about? You don't sell face cream. They're not looking at you because they want to buy a face cream.
yeah,
They're looking at you and listening to you because of your knowledge and your
yeah,
voice.
yeah,
And predominantly, you're often told, don't swear on your Instagram post and don't swear. I do if it's warranted
yeah,
because it is me. And it
yeah,
has made me so successful because of the way I do things, especially working in a Chinese industry.
yeah.
I bring it a whole different level and
Oh,
I make it very
definitely.
relatable.
Yeah,
So that's what I'm trying to say. You have to bring your level, your authenticity to whatever it is you're doing.
yeah,
And then the clients will connect with that. Your friends will connect with that.
yeah.
People will connect with that.
So,
So,
so true. So, so true.
mhm,
And you mentioned too, you're on this journey, and
mhm,
it's been, I'm gonna say, it sounds like a really big life change has
mhm.
happened, and it felt right and it feels right, and you're following where you need to be on your journey.
Yes, yes.
And if this suddenly, Sam, was the last day of your life, what's the one thing that you would be grateful for?
Hmm. You know what? Find myself smiling as I think about that. I think I would be grateful. I mean, there's all the things that we know everyone says, oh, family, oh, I'm going to jump over those a little
Yeah,
bit and say, I love, I'm so grateful I have the ability to see the beauty around me and to see the glasses half full. In fact, I always see the glasses brimming over. I love my ability to make people smile, to make people laugh, because I really believe someone could be having the most horrendous day.
yeah,
And if you just happen to walk by them and you smile and say hello
yes,
or something, they look up and they respond without
yeah,
thinking. And you could have just made their day. That
yeah,
could have been the brightest spark in
yeah,
their day. And what did it cost me to do that?
yeah,
Nothing. So
yeah,
I talk to everyone. If you see me in the grocery store, I'm going to talk to you. I talk to everyone. I smile at everyone. And even when someone's really grouchy or something happens, I just give them permission. I don't retaliate.
yeah,
I just be myself and smile because
yeah.
maybe that's what they need to turn things around.
Yeah. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, I love it.
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
it. It's interesting you said that because we now the last 2 years we stopped karate, but it was like 10 plus years doing martial arts. My son a bit longer, and one of the boys came up to me and he says, "Tanya, why is it like you're always smiling?"
Yeah.
I said, "Well, thank you." I said, I'm smiling because I'm just happy to be here and happy
Yeah.
to be taking karate, and I'm happy to be, a part of this. And he's like, "Oh, but it's so nice."
Totally, totally. And it just,
Yeah.
you can't, it's like when you yawn and someone else yawn. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm the same way. Just thinking about it, I'm going to yawn now probably, but
Yeah.
when you smile, people can't help but smile back. Even if they don't want to, you can just see the mouth twitching. They have to control not to smile back if
Yeah.
they're having a bad day. So it's
Yeah.
it's the easiest thing. And I love the fact that I do bring a lot of light to people's lives.
Yeah.
Um, my Bartsa chart is like a candle, which means guiding light for others. I know that's what I am, and I love it. I love it, and
Yeah.
it's easy to do. It's
Yeah.
easy to give. It's
Yeah.
easy to give. Giving without
It is.
expectations too. Very
Yeah.
important. Just
So
giving for the
true.
sake of giving.
So,
Yeah.
so true, right? When you
Yes.
give, you feel that energy of somebody who really needed it. Like all of a sudden you're approaching them. It's like, oh, okay, I can feel they're like really in
Yeah.
a dark place. And you just, give that simple nod or a hi or
Yeah.
smile. All of a sudden you can feel like a shift happen within them. It's
Yeah. I
really
mean, on
nice.
that, I want to encourage people too, when we've all been there, you're in a lineup at the tire place getting your winter tires changed or something. And the person in front of you is, for whatever reason, just berating the salesperson or just really maybe attacking them even. You have an opportunity when that person moves off and you step up,
Yeah.
change that person who's
Yeah.
just been beaten down
Yeah.
for possibly or probably no reason. But anyway, it happened.
Yeah.
That's your opportunity to turn that person's day around. And I
Yeah.
always make a point of commenting and thanking them for something right
Yes.
off the bat because they're in a
Yes.
negative mindset and we have that opportunity to flip it. So flip it.
Yeah.
Okay. Flip it. It doesn't
Yeah.
cost you anything.
Yeah, yeah. And it's even, I've come across that too, and you just feel it, see it on them. It's like, hello, and you're
Yeah,
saying like, thank you for everything. Like, oh, well,
yeah,
thank you for looking that up. And I really appreciate it. And thanks again. And it's just their whole
yeah,
demeanor changes, right?
yeah. And
Because
if you
maybe,
can,
yeah,
touch them. But I mean, you have to be careful. But
yeah,
if I can, I will
yeah,
often touch someone's arm, just gently,
yes,
just to
yeah,
say, because that human touch is so important. Of
yes,
course, COVID pulled that away
yeah,
within reason, and you can make a
yeah,
judgment call. But when I know when I can and when I can't, I will touch someone's shoulder, their arm, so very respectfully,
yes,
just to
yeah,
say, I hear you. Even if I
yeah.
don't say anything, it's to say, I hear you and I'm
Yeah.
with you,
Yeah,
and
you
it's
kind
okay.
yeah, it's kind of like the odd time, like I'll go, kind of like I'm standing behind, I would go like this because you kind of feel they need it right now.
Yeah,
And you just, as soon as you touch them, you feel them just relax.
yeah,
Right. And then you kind of, like whether to leave it on there. It's like, okay, now I can gently take it off.
yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes, very much
Yeah.
so. And it's so easy to do. So yeah,
Oh,
that's
so,
beautiful.
so easy. Oh, Sam, this has been a beautiful conversation. I'm like holding back the yawn. And again, that's just
I
energy
know it's because we
shifting.
said it. I'm the same way. It's because we said it, and I'm like, oh no,
Yeah,
oh no.
I felt it earlier too. And it's like, oh my gosh, this energy is huge between us.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
thank you so much for sharing your
You're
wisdom,
welcome.
for sharing your words, and helping you know, listeners out there and recognizing that there are connections and to validate who they are and to give themselves permission to
It's
yeah,
yeah, it's so important right now because the energy is shifting from a period of time where I'm going to say it was a male energy, a young male, and we're shifting to a female energy that is
yeah,
so powerful, but it's unsettling women because
yeah,
they're not feeling it or they're
mhm,
not understanding what they're feeling. And I'm
yeah,
asking people just to, it's okay, just breathe,
yeah,
just know that you are stepping in, but you need to be true about what you want now. And you need to be honest with yourself and walk that path now.
yeah.
It's time. It's time.
Beautiful, beautiful,
Yeah.
beautiful, beautiful. And everybody here listening and watching today, thank you so much for being part of another mindful conversation.
Mhm.
And realize that you are worthy. And before you go to bed tonight, think about the best thing that happened today. And as you wake up in the morning, open your eyes and either write it down or put out to the universe what you are grateful for. This is Tanya Otterstein-Liehs saying thank you, value who you are, and love who you are. Thank you so much, Sam.
Thank you.